But this is even more disturbing. I'm going to play an audio clip from you here. This is Ryan Grimm discussing a different set of emails. Emails that went around after a February, I believe, 13th, 2020, early days of the pandemic, conference call. The conference call, which a lot of these people we're mentioning here were on, was about the very serious potential that the coronavirus had leaked from the Wuhan lab. Remember they told us that was a conspiracy theory? Remember the date of this call. It's February of 2020. They're telling us now that it's just a conspiracy theory that this thing leaked from the lab. Well, now we got the emails after the call. And Ryan Grimm kind of sums up what they say here. And this is really disturbing stuff about a potential cover-up. Should be a criminal investigation into this. Listen to this.
They painted a damning picture of U.S. government officials wrestling with whether the novel coronavirus may have leaked out of a lab they knew they were funding, deciding that it very well may have, and then actively suppressing those questions. So to spell out what actually is new here, these emails themselves and others similar to it had previously been obtained by news outlets, including The Intercept, which sued the NIH for a huge batch of documents. And the GOP actually cited us in 2 footnotes. These particular emails were first obtained by BuzzFeed and The Washington Post, but the emails were heavily redacted, making it hard to know what was being communicated. A lot of them looked just like that. But as we also know from previous reporting, Republican staff were able to view the full emails, quote, in camera, which basically means they could physically look at them but couldn't take copies with them. So what they did is they quickly took as many notes as they could. It would be better if the NIH would just release them, but this is the best we've got at this point. Now, one quick side note. It's pitiful, it's shameful that Democrats wouldn't collaborate with Republicans on this investigation in any serious way. This shouldn't actually be partisan. It's existentially important that we get the actual truth here. It's obviously too late to stop this pandemic, but maybe not too late to stop the next one.
Listen, Ryan Grimm, I'd assume, is no fan of mine. But good work. He's correct. So now we have hard evidence, not soft evidence. These are documented, unquestioned government emails from Fauci and Collins. Nobody's questioning the authenticity of them. No one. That 2 things may have happened. They may have conspired using their government taxpayer-funded salaries and accounts, email accounts, to attack the credibility of well-respected scientists, to propagate a lie that lockdowns were working and that there was a scientific consensus. And even more devastating, there may have been a coordinated cover-up to make sure that the lab leak theory was painted as a conspiracy theory and no one was to talk about it, despite the fact that it appears right now to be the most viable theory. And Grimm, I left it at that. It goes on for 14 minutes if you'd like to look at the whole thing. But even more important at the end, it's not just that there was a cover-up to hide the potential of a lab leak theory, folks. It's that the cover-up may allow and provide cover for another lab leak of a potentially more devastating virus later. Has anybody thought this through in the Fauci is the Messiah circle, the Kool-Aid drinkers? Has anyone thought this through? That China now knows if a virus leaks from the lab, that the U.S. government will cover it up for them using people like useful idiots like Fauci and Collins? Has anyone thought this through? I'm going to have Dr. Stephen Quay along with the great James O'Keefe. That should be some interview on our Monday show. We're going to do something different on the Monday show. We're going to do 2 big interviews. Dr. Stephen Quay, who knows all about this, and James O'Keefe on our Monday show. Don't miss that. I'm going to ask him exactly that question. Folks, I am not exaggerating when I tell you this may be the scandal of the decade and last decade, because we're only 2 years into this one.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show.